Welcome back to 21 Minute Reads with me, Maya D. In these 5-minute videos, I share with you my 3 takeaways from my current reading, which right now is The Black Dancing Body by Brenda Dixon Gottschalk. As a part of the Read 21 in 21 challenge, I'm reading 21 minutes per day as a way of practicing mindfulness, practicing self love, providing myself with some consistency in an ever changing world. This week I read pages 127 through 144, and here are my 3 takeaways. Takeaway number 1, I hope I'm saying this term correctly, Kinesics, which deals with communication through bodily movement. It's about how you're perceived and read, right? BDD offers this idea of reclamation of body by shaking off the shackles of slavery and moving forward into the dominant culture. So I want to jump forward because before that, BDD offered this line, a loss of noise to gain visibility, which was in reference to Savion Glover's Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk, specifically the beat section, which is about Bilbo Jangles, and she touches on this idea of turning down your noise because at that point he was dancing with Shirley Temple. So making his artistry a little more quiet so that he could stay gainfully employed, and how this happens, continues to happen in the world. So how we are allowed to take up space, be it artistry or be actual physicality, because this also reminds me of this notion of that I've seen myself and didn't notice I was doing it until I read an article about it, where Black people tend to move out of the way when someone that presents as white comes walking through the space. And I know that no one ever said that out of their mouth to me, but it's something that I learned in watching the adults around me. And I would believe that this is connected to, and it says it in the article also, is connected to that law, that unsaid law of Black people having to step off the curb when a person came down the street, right? So how you're allowed to take up space, when you have to shrink yourself in order to just be, right? So I charge myself with identifying when I'm doing that, acknowledging how I take up space, but also acknowledging how I allow others to take up space. And now I'm going to jump to number 2, which is the artistic vacuum, The artistic vacuum. So VDG offers, the issue is not color or ethnicity of the dancers and teachers, but whether or not the dance form, ballet or African, is learned in its indigenous cultural and aesthetic context. So when it's not done this way, it creates this artistic vacuum, right? It creates this thing that is detached from where you started. I charge myself with this in my West African dance courses. If I'm teaching a thing, I want to teach the story behind it. I lean into Catherine Dunham's form and function. So if we know that the dance is about harvesting, and in this harvest you have a machete, then you know what kind of weight to give to the thing, right? So you understand why we're in this stance, and the aesthetic form maintains a certain level of consistency and rigor because you understand the context in which it's done. Yeah, makes sense. Got to know the history. You got to know the context in order to really do the thing. So, our third and final one. Wait, before we get to our third and final one, make sure that you like, subscribe, make sure that you're dropping notes in those comments so that we're continuing this virtual community thing, right? Because I need it. Now, number 3. Number 3 is William Forsythe. Forsythe in 2001 was described as being a wonderful bridge of taking ballet forward by showing us what it could do technique-wise, but also theatrically, because his company was so diverse in body shapes and things. So it showed us that ballet doesn't have to look like this, meaning how you're dressed or your body shape, right? And even the content, because there's this one where they're like, okay, that's a whole nother story. But the content and how it's presented and who it's presented on. Forsythe gives us a new vision, and that helps ballet to continue forward. So I hope that we continue to think about how we can go forward, because some of those things that we had back then, they're not really useful anymore. So, let's let them go. But don't let me go. Make sure you like, and I'll see you next week.